He's the shove-it man, oh he's the shove-it man. He's gonna shove it, yeah, he's gonna shove it, man.
Alright, you can all stop dumping in your nappies because the NWA TNA reviews are back. We're actually well over halfway to completing this, so I should probably stop screwing around and finish this damn series. If you need to catch up for it, there's a playlist. So today you'll be getting episode 69 and So Will Your Girl, followed by 70, which is her pearl. Last time out, I don't know, something about Slapnuts beating everybody up. It never really changes, does it? The roster is so damn weak at this point, it's just a couple of legends and a bunch of young guys. I'm not saying it's terrible, but it's not the most exciting roster ever. Unfortunately, this build towards Slappy having an imaginary match with the Hulkster lasts a few weeks. Jimmy Hart is in the back bragging that he's got the man called Sting to face Jarrett tonight. We actually start straight off with a match, and it's a tag match. On a night where Sting is wrestling in TNA, the dumbasses book Lazz, who is almost identical to Sting in every single way, except he sucks. He teams with Kid Cash to take on The Gathering, Julio De Niro and CM Punk. The image of seeing Punk sell for Lazz is funny. As usual, Julio is outshining his partner. I'm not saying he's better, I'm just saying in TNA he was more impressive. Nice slam from Julio, which causes Lazz to dump in his thong with fear and he cuddles his partner. Lazz and Kid Cash are partners who don't get on. Cash reluctantly works with his partner to backdrop suplex Julio. Lazz connects with a Northern Lights suplex for a 2. Now Lazz and Cash hit a double back body drop. This whole thing is bizarre. It seems like TNA actually wanted to do something with Lazz because he's booked like a threat here. Kid Cash hits a front slam and a springing moonsault. I never expected such a competitive match here. Lazz with a diving neckbreaker now for yet another 2. A competitive match turns ridiculous now as Lazz makes jokes wanting to be behind Julio whilst Cash wants to slam Julio. Cash can't take the shenanigans anymore and a shove-off starts. That allows Julio to tag out. CM Punk is a hawk on fire despite being against a comedy jobber team. Although Punk is the legal man, Julio is almost beaten by a high-low. Punk takes out Cash on the outside and the Gathering win with the near-death experience. What a silly match. The Gathering only won because one guy got distracted and wanted to shove it in another. If Lazz hadn't got distracted by his urges, he probably would have won. Kid Cash is a bad loser and kills his partner with a powerbomb until the Monster Abyss stumbles out to make the save. Cash dumps in his nappy of fear and runs away. Somewhere backstage, Raven is alone in a dark four-cornered room staring at the candles. He brags about eliminating all James Mitchell's new church members. Tonight, Raisin is facing Jim Mitchell in a last man standing match. Quote the Raisin, nevermore. Nwa Tna is in the ring screaming that out next is the self-proclaimed Mr. October of professional wrestling, because he's had a pretty good month. Oh, I wonder who that could be. Of course, a wild Slapnuts appears.
Jeff Jarrett.
The crowd desperately chant for Hogan. If only they knew. If only they knew. Jarrett says everybody is talking about him and proudly shows off a Japanese newspaper which talks about Slapnuts attacking Hogan. Slapnuts wants to know when he's allowed to face Hogan and says it could happen in Mexico in front of 50,000 people. I wonder if or when the Hulkster has even wrestled in Mexico. Slapnuts sends Nwa Tna out the ring as he grits his teeth and squirts blood in his nappy. Tna is very disappointed that he's no longer allowed to interview Slapnuts. Jeff Jarrett is interrupted by AJ Styles, who is in the crowd, but the camera struggles to find him. AJ tells him he should stop worrying about Hogan and Sting and instead worry about AJ. Styles wants his world title rematch. Randomly a box appears showing Sonny, don't look at my Asiaki. Slapnuts basically says that Styles isn't a draw and nobody is talking about him. In a common childish outburst from this time, AJ responds simply telling Jarrett that he sucks. Jarrett tells AJ to go back to the X Division, but Styles has no interest in doing that. He says he's coming for Jarrett and a brawl begins. AJ manages to block the stroke and drop kicks Jarrett, but then red shirt security start punching Styles and he takes them out of a load of kicks. But he does turn around into a Jeff Jarrett chair shot. Guess it's back to the X Division for him. Jarrett goes back to cutting his promo about Sting. He calls him Batman and says, same bat channel, same bat ring. Not the greatest line I've ever heard. Randomly, the Abyss attacks the red shirt security. Get them, Abyss, kill these annoying pricks. No, the Terminator boots Abyss in the head as another beating commences. Abyss isn't finished though and he terminates the Terminator. He's about to chokeslam Don Callis when Northcutt breaks it up. Before Abyss can backbreak a Northcutt, Callis starts threatening to fire Abyss, but these were the days before the idiot's annoying days, and he was actually cool. He does the backbreaker anyway and then chases Callis away. In the back, Jim Mitchell is talking about his match with Raven tonight. Mitchell accuses Raven of always preying on people that are weaker than him. but Mitchell has a mind of his own and isn't scared of Raven. Raven will not be able to outthink James Mitchell, and his brain power will help him defeat Raven tonight. Then Shane Douglas makes his way out, and I suddenly feel really tired for some reason. He's facing the Sandman in an ECW throwback match. It's not actually the worst match you'll ever see. Douglas is still trying at this point, and so is the Sandman. The Sandman does his usual diving leg drop with Douglas hanging over the ropes, followed by a slingshot leg drop and a bump and grind into a Frankensteiner. Unfortunately, he's too drunk to make a cover. He does eventually make a cover after the White Russian, but Douglas kicks out. Then Tracy Brooks randomly dives on the Sandman, and they call that move the Pie in the Sky. Douglas hits a belly to belly, which strangely isn't the finish, so he simply does another. Now it's over. Tracy Brooks has been franchised. She says there's nothing that she wouldn't do for Shane Douglas. Jimmy Hart is also sat in a dark room for some reason. I think TNA couldn't afford their electric bill on this show. He randomly talks about the Bash at the Beach incident in WCW, and he starts screaming why as the camera pans to show Sting screaming why. That was actually pretty cool. Out now, it's the Don't Look at My Ass Club. Apparently they're having trouble deciding who's in charge of this group. They take on America's Most Wanted. Siaki and the Cowboy are obsessed with doing arm drags. It's actually a really good start to the match. I think Storm wins that exchange as Siaki misses a flip. Chris Harris isn't backing down from Umaga, but he can't knock him down and he's dumped on his ass. For some reason, he tags Siaki straight back in, who instantly starts losing. Harris kills him with a delayed vertical suplex. Siaki and Umaga start cheating to turn the match. It's not the greatest tag match I've ever seen. It does get better when Harris is in. He's got some really impressive shows of strength. He was a really strong guy back then. Umaga presses Harris up into the Siaki cutter for a 2. Storm takes Umaga away and hits a dangerous neck snapper on Siaki, and it just didn't look right. It should be over, but it's not. Miscommunication, and Umaga squashes Siaki in the corner. Harris connects with a spear, but no, it's just a 2. A chair ends up in the ring, but for some reason Trinity slides it to Chris Harris. He looks as confused as I was. He bashes Umaga in the face. Trinity now starts distracting the referee. It seems that she can't make her mind up if she wants to help or hinder. Harris tries to do the catatonic on Siaki when out of the blue, the master of the cab driver slam hits Chris Harris with a tennis racket. Siaki lips for the 3. What a strange match. Surely Siaki deserves a tag title shot now. In the back is the gifted Glenn Gilberti. How is he gifted? He has his New York nerds with him. They're very happy that AMW just lost because they don't want to face them for the belts. And I guess that means that AMW can't have a shot because they lost to the Don't Look at My Ass Club. The cabbie randomly blurts out that he's booked a match for tonight. When does he have the power to book a match? And he'll be facing the Free Life Crew and he wants Disco to team with him. Disco is scared, but the New York nerds encourage him to have the match to eliminate more tag teams for them. Now we have a wacky X Division Battle Royal. The Warrior Loki is the first man, the second man is Crisp Saban. We also have Sonjay Dutt. Johnny Storm randomly returns from England. Chad Collier, who was trained by Dean Malenko. Crisp Daniels, a man called X, who just doesn't look like he belongs here. This is actually PCO as far as I know. It's a very chaotic match. Everyone basically takes a turn doing a move in the middle of the ring whilst everyone else tries to keep out of their way. Johnny Storm hits a nice driver and tries to take a dive, but Daniel stops him, but Shark Boy comes to his rescue. I must have missed that Shark Boy was even here. Storm does a Frankensteiner to Shark Boy, who is caught by X and hit with a Death Valley driver. It is very fun having someone different in there. He also hits a huge pop-up powerbomb on Johnny Storm, and our first man is eliminated. Quickly followed by the Shark Boy. X hits a brutal suplex to Sonjay Dutt in the corner. He throws up the X sign, but the crowd boo. He doesn't care and press slams Sonjay Dutt out of the ring. Impressive performance. Triple X are working against Chad Collier, who I'm surprised is still in this thing. Never mind, there he goes thanks to Daniels. Ish revealed that all of these guys have now qualified for an X Division tournament, but the match continues anyway. Not sure what the winner gets, maybe it's a punch to the gut. Daniels is powered to the mat. The Warrior rolls out of his way and tries a cartwheel, which is caught and turned into a buckle bomb. X isn't done and he hits a massive Impaler DDT. This is incredible, what a debut. Perhaps a future Ring of the Hawk competitor. He does get caught on the top, and Daniel slams him to the mat and Saban punctuates that of a splash. The smaller guys get to fight for a bit now. Saban hits a lovely backbreaker. They're apparently idiots though and don't want to try to work together to eliminate the big man. Triple X have a little falling out. It's a fun exchange, but they've forgotten about everyone else and Saban launches them both out the ring. The final two, Saban and X, spill out the ring through the middle rope. X sends Saban into the steps. Back in the ring, X hits a package piledriver on a steel chair. The refs just don't care, they've gone home or something. X launches Sabin out the ring and he's won. Absolutely nothing. I love this match, really fun and excited to see what else X can do. Don Callis agrees that it was a very good match. He's probably been planted in the division by Callis. Callis then flips because apparently Roddy Piper is doing an interview next. Piper has nothing interesting to say and just talks about Russo the entire time. Imagine going to the hassle of getting someone this big on your show and just having them talk about Vince Russo. Out now, it's the team of the master of the cab driver slam David Young and gifted Glenn Gilberti. How is he gifted? Disco is very upset that the cabbie has forced him into this match. They take on the Free Live crew. It'll be Truth and the Mouldy One. Gilberti keeps pretending that he can't do up his laces. Out of nowhere, it's the cab driver slam, the cab driver slam. It's over. But no, it's not, because Gilberti is now happy to join the match. He hits the Village People's elbow for a 2. There's a bit of a botch where the cabbie doesn't get under the Truth's float over. He quickly moves on with a DDT. The match breaks down. The cabbie is left alone with the Road Dogg. Dogg wants to use a chair, which distracts the referee. Dogg uses that distraction as an opportunity to hit the cabbie with the tennis racket. R-Truth wins with an axe kick. A bit of a disappointing match following the previous one. There's a big tag team brawl after the match involving other teams, and Chris Harris cuts a raging promo calling Disco Inferno a worthless piece of crap. He proclaims that the tag belts belong to AMW and he demands a rematch. Road Dogg disagrees and calls them Butch Cassidy and the Tommy Hilfiger Kid. He wants the tag shot for his team. Team Don't Look at My Ass also want to speak on this. Siaki says he deserves the tag title shot because Gilberti owes him one. Gilberti says that he didn't make any deals when the cabbie stupidly admits that a deal was made. This is all too much for Glenn Gilberti and he storms off. Father James Mitchell and Raven have their match. It actually seems like it's going to be a proper match, no shenanigans. Mitchell has been annoying Raven for months and this is the payoff. It's the last man standing. It's not actually as one-sided as you would expect, as the Sinister Minister puts the chair to good use. Raven does inevitably make his comeback. This is one of those last man standing matches where you apparently need to get a free count first. At the very first time of asking after the Raisin effect, Mitchell is pinned for the 3 and it's over. He stays down for 10 seconds. Raven celebrates the match by hanging a man. He then grabs a mic and says he is now clear to go after the World Heavyweight title. As usual, he tells the gathering to leave him alone and let him do his own thing. For some reason, CM Punk responds by begging Raven not to leave them. He sounds like a whiny ex-girlfriend. This man had a long way to go on the mic. Before the main event, the Warrior returns and says next week he's going to beat up Christopher Daniels in a match and Triple X is finished. In your main event, a man called Slapnuts faces a man called Sting for the world title. This is Sting's second match for TNA. The match takes a while to start. It doesn't help that Jarrett keeps running away. Once we do get underway, it's all Sting. The camera is shaking like crazy. I don't think it's my recording. This crowd are shaking the entire building for Sting. Sting gets the Scorpion on quickly of Slapnuts escaping. On the outside, Sting has a Sting blanket which he puts on Jarrett's head and smacks him one. What a souvenir for that young lady. We get crowd brawling because every Jeff Jarrett match must have crowd brawling. Sting uses a chair in the crowd. Then Sting uses an actual fan as a weapon. First for me in wrestling. Finally back in the ring and it really looks like we're getting a new champion tonight. Sting is all over him like a bad t-shirt. Then there's a ref bump. Jarrett tries a belt shot but misses. Not sure why the ref needed to be bumped. They've been using weapons the whole match. Sting hits the Scorpion Death Drop when Don Callis takes out the referee. I knew it was going too smoothly. Callis distracts the referee as Jarrett lands a belt shot. But no, Jimmy Hart won't let it go down like that. The match continues. Slappy misses a dropkick and once again Sting has the deathlock on. The red shirt security rush the ring. Sting takes out the geeks. Jarrett smacks Sting with a chair and the match is thrown out. Did you expect anything less? They continue beating on Sting. Finally, Raven emerges from the back, smiling. Raven hits a bad-looking superkick on a red shirt. Now there's a terrible Irish whip into the corner. After a while, Slapnuts kicks him in the head. Whoever has been ringing the bell for 5 non-stop minutes needs a punch to the gut. AJ Styles flies into the ring with a springboard. It doesn't help and the red shirts take him out too. Then, randomly, Abyss hits the ring. Wow, that was cool seeing him associate with the main eventers. Gimme some more of that. AJ Styles, like a geek, tries to raise his hand, but Abyss attacks him too. Jarrett wants to hit Sting with a guitar, but Sting blocks it with his bat. Sting hits everybody with the bat, heels and faces, and he is the last man standing. On the ramp, Don Callis, who really needs a tan, says next week Raisin will be facing the red shirts. Can't say that I'm looking forward to that. Sting says he likes being in TNA and he's coming back next week, but he'll only come back if AJ agrees to be his tag team partner. They will be facing Jarrett and his man Lex Luger. Sting looks like he's catching flies, and the show ends. Pretty much the whole show was bad except the X Division. Jarrett was all over this show. Let's check out your second episode of the video. Sadly, this one starts off with a memorial to the life of Crash Holly. It's a shame we never got to see more of Mad Mikey in TNA. That gimmick was really going somewhere, I loved it. Once again, the show starts with Jimmy Hart. I wish he'd disappear from this company. AJ Styles climbs out of his limo looking like Hart just gave him a happy ending. Sting says it's showtime. So it seems that a decision has been made to put all these tag teams in a gauntlet match to decide things. The members will enter on their own, so Road Dogg and Chris Harris to start us off. It's not a bad start. Harris slips away from the shake, rattle and roll and hits a spear. The next man out is the hold in my ass, Sonny don't look at my ass Siaki. And he's eliminated straight away by Dogg and Harris. This is not acceptable.
NWA Impact brings you the Smack of the Week. Sponsored by all new Blonde for Men. If you're a brown-haired Potter, put some blonde in it. It makes you look hotter.
Oh man, it's Sunday Siaki. This guy's gonna be the future of TNA, man. This dude's from the Samoan royal family, man. This guy's gonna kick some serious butt in there. He's in there with a Road Dogg, Jesse James, man. They said Sunday Siaki running, man. Oh, he's out, man. I'm in complete disbelief. Sunday Siaki's run was so brief.
That was the NWA TNA Smack of the Week. Sponsored by Blonde Just for Men. Get it? Got it? Shove it.
The How Is He Gifted man is up next. He refuses to get into the ring. Eventually the guys catch him, but for some reason they don't try to eliminate him. The master of the cab driver slam is here next, who's Gilberti's partner. He hits a cab driver slam on Chris Harris and a power slam on Road Dogg. Out next, it's CM Punk, who I wasn't even aware was a contender. He takes out the cabbie and disco of a crossbody. Chris Harris stops his brief dominance. James Gorm is here now. Storm almost smacks his own partner one. The Cowboys hit a heart attack on David Young and they also eliminate Gilberti in comedic fashion. I guess TNA no longer see Gilberti as a main eventer. Good. Here comes Fatu now. He quickly press slams Punk out of the ring. He also eliminates the cabbie as Julio De Niro joins the match. Chris Harris and Road Dogg eliminate each other. The final guy in there is Ron the Truth Killings. Fatu throws out Julio De Niro. He's been a real force in this match. Fatu squashes the other guys with his ass, one cheek each, but he's too cocky and tries to do it again, and this time the guys kick him out of the ring. The remaining two guys actually fight for a long time, but they can never just let them go in this company. David Young returns, which distracts everybody. Gilberti sneaks into the ring and hits James Storm with a steel chair. Truth hits the back sack and crack for the 3. So I guess this means that Gilberti would rather have 3 Live Crew get a tag shot? This was hard to figure out. It seems like either team could be a threat. Why does he view 3 Live Crew as less of a threat? Don Callis is with the red shirt nerds in the back. He threatens Raven. Then Abyss walks up, who is randomly with Don Callis now, which doesn't even make sense because Abyss was against him on the last show. He tells Abyss he's taking him straight to the top. Tenay is in the ring with Slapnuts, arriving to cut yet another lengthy promo. We waste even more time because Jarrett refuses to speak to Mike Tenay and instead wants Dom West. He blathers on for 5 minutes about Hulk Hogan coming to TNA when thankfully Raven interrupts his ramblings. Raven has Crash written on his belly, which is a nice touch from Raven. Raven is offended that Jarrett isn't thinking about giving him a match. Raven is jumped by the red shirt nerds. Northcutt repeatedly hits Raven with a microphone, which looks like it barely hurts. Just like last week, it's a 3-on-1 beatdown and Jarrett hits a stroke on the steel chair. The next match is the Fallen Angel Christopher Daniels taking on Low Key. This should be good. Sonjay Dutt is shown warming up for the match when Don West says he's never asked to be here. Well, I didn't ask to be here either. First big move is a springboard dropkick from Daniels which sends Low Key from the ring. Daniels punctuates it with a split-legged moonsault. Christopher Daniels dominates in the ring. I only just realised that they've randomly dropped his crackhead followers gimmick. I miss those guys. Low Key comes back with a springboard kick for a double down. Daniels misses the BME, which Low Key tries to take advantage of, but his armbar isn't very well thought out. Low Key's next submission is stopped too as Daniels hits the fall from Grace and the Angel Wings. Low Key kicks out, so that's Daniels' finisher dead. The Warrior makes his comeback with a bunch of kicks, including one of the cartwheel variety. Low Key can't hit the Key Crusher and Daniels rolls him into a pin. Well, that was slightly easier for him than I expected. Weird short match. Thought it would be a bit better. I guess we need more time for Slapnut promos. Daniels advances to a triple threat for next week to decide the number one contender. Triple X shake hands, but X storms the ring and hits a package piledriver on Daniels. Low-key grimaces with fear. X will also be in the triple threat next week, so I guess that's what he won, the ability to skip one match. Raven is crying on the floor. CM Punk is hyped and expects to be Raven's partner tonight to face the Red Shirts. Another X Division match is Chad Collier versus Sonjay Dutt. I'm not quite as excited for this one. Apparently Sonjay is only here because Chris Sabin should be here, but he got injured in that last match. Sonjay kicks Collier out the ring and crashes down on him with a crossbody. The crowd are dead for this one. They don't care about Chad Collier hitting a butterfly suplex and they don't care about the Texas Cloverleaf. I don't know why they gave this match so much time between two relatively unknowns. Dutt hadn't even been with TNA long at this point. Sonjay eventually hits a big DDT for a 2. He tries a lion salt, but apparently Collier gets his knees up and hits a German suplex. It's still not over. Dutt reverses the Cloverleaf into a pin for the 3. The right man won. Seeing as Collier failed to get the Cloverleaf on 3 times, I suggest he goes back to see Dean Malenko and gets some more training. X appears on the ramp and he slams Sonjay Dutt into it. Now it's a pre-recorded interview of Eric Watts and Goldilocks. This was weird. They do name association. Watts calls Lex Luger a $1 million body of a 10-cent mind. Goldilocks calls Scott Hudson a job stealer. Why is any of this happening? They ask Goldilocks about China, Joni Laura's new CD? I've googled it and I've no idea what they're even talking about. China had a musical career? Let me know in the comments because I spent a while googling and the only thing I can find is a song with someone called Reggie Benjamin called Ride. But I can't see that she had her own CD or anything. Her participation in the song in question is her barely singing and just making sex noises. It's a waste of time.
Baby, won't you take a ride to the other side?
In the back, Scott Hudson is trying to interview Lex Luger, but instead he gets a wild slapnuts. Why is that door like that? Is this a prison or something? Here comes the Monster Abyss. He's taking on Don Harris, who is still hanging around with the weedy black shirt security. What a match this should be. I'm joking, it sucks. It's not the sort of match I book, because you want to build up this Monster Abyss, but he's never going to get a strong match against Don Harris. He actually spends most of the match losing too, and it's almost over to a chokeslam. Abyss has to rely on cheating from his new manager Don Callis, and he wins with a black hole slam. A stupid trash match. Abyss keeps beating people up until randomly AJ Styles makes the save. Abyss throws him out the ring, AJ just shrugs and dives straight back into the ring for head scissors. That was cool to be fair, sign me up for a feud between these two. Scott Hudson is in the back with a 3 Live crew. Conad brags that they're coming for the tag titles. Chris Harris marches up and said they're coming for them regardless of who wins the belts. Oh no, not more security people. But an interesting plot twist this time is the red shirt security. This show sucks so badly at this point, it's dying out for stars. Raven is their opponent, but he looks like a piece of trash. Raven reveals that he's picked a partner for tonight and it'll be the Sandman. Pepsi Punk can't be happy about this one. Weapons are immediately used. The Terminator is knocked into the crowd with a kendo stick. It's going so easy for the ECW guys that they have time to stop for beers. The referee suddenly decides that he wants this to resemble a standard tag match and he sends the guys to their corners. Hardcore Hack hits a bulldog and a slingshot leg drop. He keeps going and drapes Northcutt over the ropes and hits the guillotine leg drop. Raven has the tag. Pretty quickly the Terminator cheats and the match is turned. Northcutt does all the heavy lifting for his team because the Terminator is still too green. It's all over when the match is thrown out when Joey Legend interferes. The Gathering disobey Raven's orders and they clear the ring. Punk is still desperately sucking up to Raven. Like complete dumbasses, they get jumped. Our hero for this segment will be Eric Watts. It's difficult when you have wrestlers of this caliber and you have to watch it, but you know it sucks. Who am I meant to be cheering for here? Eric Watts reminds us that he has the power in the company. It feels like this idea is dropped and restarted on almost a weekly basis. Where was he last week? He didn't have any power last week. He makes a House of Fun match for next week. Fun? That name is probably false advertising. Just like that, we're at the main event. Sting teams up with AJ Styles. Entering with Jimmy Hart is an unusual image. They take on Slapnuts and Lex Luger. It's good to see that Luger is still in physical condition here, well at least from an external view. Before the match can start, Don Callis has to cut a promo running down AJ Styles. He reminds Styles he doesn't belong in the ring with legends. Luger also wishes to cut a promo and he calls AJ AC Styles. Lex Luger reiterates that he doesn't belong in the ring with them. Sting has the mic now. He yells AJ Styles in the house and tells Luger and Jarrett that they aren't good enough to be in AJ's league. This was a cool early endorsement from Sting. And Luger pulling fake scared faces is hilarious. Hang on, why did they all get to talk except for Styles? I guess he'll do his talking in the ring. But not first, as he doesn't start this match. It's actually best when Luger is in there with Styles, because Styles can make all his power moves look devastating. It's actually just simple hip tosses, but they all look like they hurt. Styles tries to springboard him, but he's caught in a bear hug and dumped to the mat. Luger flexes with happiness and tags Slappy. Considering how much they doubted AJ's ability in the pre-match, you'd think he'd want to prove the doubters wrong. Instead, he's barely managed a move. Luger back in with some simple kicks to the gut. AJ does make a tag, but the ref misses it and Slapnuts powerbombs him. Finally, AJ grazes Slapnuts with a follow-up kick. Once again he makes the tag, and once again the ref has missed it. Luger launches Styles out the ring, but Sting can't take it anymore and storms the ring. He hits the Scorpion Death Drop on Jarrett, and for some reason the ref counts the pin, even though he ain't legal. Luger signals for the wrap. Sting reverses it and awkwardly clears Jarrett from the ring. Styles is back with a top rope dive on Luger, who catches him but is rolled into a pin, just a 1 count. We come back to the ring to see AJ in the torture rack. Sting starts hitting Luger with the baseball bat and AJ rolls Luger into a pin for the 3. There's a post-match attack where Styles still can't do anything. The Monster Abyss saves Slapnuts, the Black Hole slams AJ. Slapnuts brags that he's taken care of Raven and Styles and all that's left now is Hogan. Raven runs into the ring, security beat him up for the 3rd or 4th time in this video. It's over. Couple of things about this. They did nothing here to show that AJ belongs at this level. He did the sum total of nothing, and he only won because of Sting. And as far as Lex Luger's final televised match, it wasn't actually bad from Lex Luger's perspective. Just questionable booking. This episode of TNA really sucked. Every match ended with interference or a beatdown and nobody's getting over. Alright, that's the Shove It show done, and if you don't agree with that, I'll make you my son.